Alright, so my new album FRUTAL comes out on the 9th of August, and I wanted to take a moment to give a bit more backstory for the album. In early July in 2022, Pyrathy, who's one of my best friends for over 20 years now, had a barbecue at his house, and as I was gonna leave, he's like, "Dude, we don't play music anymore. I've got all this kit, and yet we never play." So I was like, you know, you're right, let's organize something. The thing is, I was planning on moving to Ireland a few months afterwards, and I was gonna start selling a lot of my equipment in September, so I thought, why not just get together, write a few songs, make a small EP in a couple of weeks, and have some fun before I move away, right? So we sent a few messages back and forth and set a date for the first session, and a few days later I went over to his house, he lent me his guitar, and we started pitching random ideas. We were like, what about metal with odd time signatures? Or what about war? What about something crazier? What about fruits? Yeah, what about fruits? Why not make something just ridiculous, right? Just super silly. So he tells me this story about how he had an issue at the airport in, I think it was Dominican Republic, involving dragon fruits or guanabanas or some other kind of fruit. And I go, wow, that is an amazing story. Let's write a song based on that, right? And so we started working on what was going to be essentially just a 4-week project. A 4-week project over 2 years ago, and boom, suddenly out of nowhere it became a 2-part album, with volume 1 coming out on the 9th of August and the second one towards the end of the year, I think. It's really funny that it took so long. You can write a song like in a couple of hours, but sometimes life gets in the way, and when you pick the project back up, just the scope blows up, right? And you realize that you want to make something much larger than you originally intended. And over time, I started adding fruits and more fruits and more fruits, and at some point I was dead set on the idea of making a song about every single fruit. But I'm glad I backed away from that. It turns out there's a heck of a lot of fruits. But yeah, hopefully the album will be interesting, even if the idea behind it is a bit silly, right? Now, when I say 2 years, it might seem very insignificant in the grand scheme of things, right? What is 2 years after all? But if you consider the time that we're on this earth, the limited span we have to create things to share with the world, 2 years is one heck of a long time. So what is the album about? The whole purpose was silly from the get-go. Stories and metaphors about fruits interspersed with just general definitions about what the fruit is and other spacers and random stuff between songs, as well as analogies where like the lyrics really describe something else, mostly open to interpretation, right? And the idea behind the name was because we wanted to make something heavy, like brutal, right? Like super intense. So brutal, but about fruits. How about FRUTAL, right? And the name just kind of stuck from there onwards. And these are a few examples of tracks from the album, just so you get an idea of how it sounds like.
Let the figs fall down one by one, one by one.
I'm really looking forward to putting this out and listening to your feedback, so stay tuned for more updates. You can check me out on all the social medias under the name Lemif, and yeah, you can visit lemif.com as well, where you can subscribe to the newsletter if you'd like to receive an email the moment it drops. Otherwise, I'll likely be posting videos here and on Twitter and Threads. I think on the day of the release, I'm also going to drop all the individual songs as videos, and I'll also publish like a playlist on YouTube so you can listen to it in order as well, if you prefer that. I know a bunch of people prefer just listening to music on YouTube instead, or Spotify, but there's a lot less people that go to Bandcamp or SoundCloud in comparison, right? Anyway, it's going to be on all those websites regardless. So yeah, thank you for listening, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.